Oh, what's your thought on Kemba? We want to hear.
No, the Kemba, I'm still formulating it. His line was identical to Smart's. 14 points on 6 of 15 field goals and 2 of 7 3-point field goals, albeit in 27 minutes.
And he started worse, ended strong, whereas Smart started 6 of 11 and then missed the last 4.
And then missed a bunch. Right. So I don't know. It's again a fit thing, and I'm willing to give it time to figure out how these guys play together again. But they did play together last year, so I don't want to give it that much time. It shouldn't be an issue. But right. I see a lot of people in the chat kind of talking about like there are ball stopping issues with Kemba for sure, and it is a lot. There is a lot of my ball, your ball sort of offense when the three of those guys are on the court together. And that's what bugs me a little. And that's why I suggested a couple of games ago trying to split their minutes where only 2 of them are out there at any given time. And I think Brad did that a bit tonight. I wasn't tracking it fully, but there is when they're all out there together, there is a lot of that my ball, your ball, just cycling through, each person taking turn and not as much movement. So that's what I'm seeing.
See, but that's the thing. I thought I was going to see a lot more of that tonight, believe it or not, guys. I thought we would see more of that bubble style where it was just like, oh, no, you take it. No, you take it. And then,
well, I mean, they only had 15 assists. It wasn't a great night for ball movement.
That's true. But I just think in that third quarter, I thought they found the fix. I knew they would have to fight for it towards the end. But I just think, when you see the way, again, I don't know if Jayson Tatum would have passed up that shot if this was the bubble. I think he's learned to sort of take a deep breath in those moments and take his time. And it's just unfortunate that Marcus missed the shot. But, I mean, yeah, I guess it did. The ball did slow down a bit. And Kemba, that rust is going to be there. We haven't really seen a whole lot of rust outside of that very first game where we were just looking at the eye test. And he passed out with flying colors. I wasn't necessarily going to give him slack for what the box scores looked like, even though some people did because of the way the Celtics were crushed that day. But I mean, look, I can see him bouncing back. I'm not that concerned about it. Again, it's more about the eye test right now, and at least you're seeing that bit of momentum that we saw out of him in his last couple of outings.
Brad Stevens is going to have to get creative with this trio here. They're all ball dominant. They're all playmakers on the ball.
There's no Hayward.
And Kemba especially is a guy who has never in his career gotten off the ball, done action, taking catch and shoot threes. This is what I talked about. It's a whole different dynamic now. The starters, the personnel's the same, but Jaylen Brown is in a completely different situation now versus in the playoffs last year. You have to empower Brown on the ball as a secondary playmaker. The ball more.
They have to have the ball.
You saw it tonight.
That's what killed me. You had Brown taken out of the game for periods of time.
Yep, that's what they did at the beginning of the fourth. They took Brown out. They took Tatum on. They tried to get Kemba some run there. And then
when he was out there were too many possessions where he didn't have the ball in his hands, and that drives me crazy. And that's the problem is to get Kemba cooking, you got to let him dance around, dribble, get to his spot and eat 10 to 12 seconds of a shot.
He's going to be a challenge for the rest of this year when they're all healthy. It's going to be,
it's going to be a challenge too to see how
it only works with Kemba if he's shooting lights out. He has to have high.
Well, to your point, I think the
1-15 guy, if he's shooting 40% from the field on high volume, you're right. It becomes a Marcus Smart situation, but he's holding the ball for even longer, and that can really stop your offense. That's the concern. Is he has to be more efficient. You're starting to worry if this was a good player, bad team syndrome sort of situation with what you were getting with him coming off of Charlotte, where it was like, well, if I don't shoot it, nobody's going to shoot it. But when he's here, it's finding that role, exactly what he's supposed to be. But you also need to get him moving. Josue, sorry, you were going.
No, I was just going to say, it's going to be interesting to see how his approach with this whole thing, because, I mean, we knew it beforehand, but Brad sort of confirmed it today where he said this whole, notion, or these people thinking that Kemba's going to be ramped up to 30 minutes. I mean, that's not ideal. So I think Brad has to tweak these lineups and sort of pick his spots when to put Kemba into the lineup and when to mix and match them. And I think it's going to be difficult for Kemba, to get used to that. But the one thing I think is going to be an advantage for Kemba is that he's one of those players where if he's got it going, if he's scoring, 6-7 points in a row, but he has to take that breather, he can still hold on to that momentum. He can sit on the bench to the side for a little bit, come back in and still, continue to score for you. But to your point, John, he may have to hold the ball for a little bit. He may have to take on a 2 or 3 possessions where he has the ball in his hands for at least 7 or 8, seconds to get himself back into the rhythm of things. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be tough for Brad to sort of have to figure things out, and I think it makes it really hard when you don't have Pritchard in the mix. I know he's a rookie. I know he doesn't have a whole lot of experience under his belt, but man, that guy, when he's out there facilitating, it's just a different team. It's a different identity, completely different compared to someone like Jeff Teague. When he had the ball in his hands tonight, I mean, man, how many times did we get a text message from John guy saying, "Stop holding the ball, get the ball out of Teague's hands"?
That
dude, I'm with you.
Oh my God,
they miss Pritchard, man. We forget Pritchard.
We do miss
He's that guy.
Yeah.
He's that guy. That's his role now.
It's a good point. Forgot about him with the absence the last few weeks.